And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ASEAN Innovation Roadmap Forum hybrid event this morning. Well, before we proceed further for the last session of this morning, and now we would dig deeper in the detail of BCG model to panel discussion. And we have four distinguished speakers with us. And I now will give the floor to Dr. Lily, Irwilaitit, Secretariat of ASEAN BCG Network, come Vice President of National Science and Technology Development Agency, RENASTA, Thailand. And now Dr. Lily is ready, and I'm pretty sure that everybody is ready as well. And now the floor is yours. Over to you, Dr. Lily.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And good morning, distinguished guests, ladies. Technology and innovation support the sustainable development goal in ASEAN. And for that, may I briefly inform everyone about Q&A. If you have any questions or would like to share your point of view with our panelists, please leave your message in the chat box. Your questions will be shared to the panelists during the Q&A session. And before we proceed, allow me to take this opportunity to introduce our ASEAN BCG network to everyone. May I have my slide, please? Well, this morning, I'm very grateful to Professor Yongyut Yuttawong for excellently explaining the BCG and the concept of ASEAN BCG network. So I could skip most of my introduction part and only emphasize on the essence of the BCG and the ASEAN BCG network. As we have learned already from Professor Yongyut already that BCG is what it is. And I would like to highlight that each component of B and C and G or bio, circular, and green economy is not new and has been applied in many countries as one of the sustainable development approaches to elevate their national economy. However, Thailand combines all three aspects and pay particular focus on four economically important sectors in Thailand, and that are food and agriculture, medical and wellness, energy, material and biochemicals, and tourism and creative economy. And with the right intervention of policy and management, science, technology, and innovation, development, and participation of all sectors in a quadruple helix manner, the BCG model will be the way forward for future development of Thailand and, of course, ASEAN. So to move forward with our sufficient development approaches in ASEAN, it is important to go hand in hand among ASEAN members. And we therefore propose a formation of ASEAN BCG network, which has already been endorsed in June last year by the Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation, or COSTI, and set as one of ASEAN priorities of 2022. And the network has aimed to strengthen ASEAN capacity in research development, technology diffusions to enable the adoption of applicable technologies for sustainable development. And the network itself will serve as a gateway to catalyze collaboration within ASEAN and others in research, technology, demonstration, technology localization, and commercialization on BCG. Next slide, please. So we expect that this network will bring clear benefits to not just researcher and innovator, but also business and industrial sectors, as well as policymakers and regulators. Next, please. So our implementing plan can be divided into three phases. At the first phase, we are to introduce and raise awareness of BCG concept. This includes calling for members among ASEAN and setting up the framework and workable mechanisms. Phase 2, we aim to set up the mechanism to support the capacity in ASEAN on BCG to promote SDG in ASEAN. This strong network could also lead to the connection to other partners, for example, EU and other dialogue partners, to bring in expertise and information. And phase 3 will emphasize on technology transfer and localization. This will support the fast and sustainable development of ASEAN using technology from well-developed countries. So we aim to set up the collaborative projects among ASEAN member states and with dialogue partners. Next, please. So for the network activities, we will focus on introducing the BCG concept and BCG and set up the platform where we could share and exchange our knowledge and experience. The ASEAN BCG platform include website, meeting, and various project activities and events. The network will also focus on the capacity building and technology sharing via workshop and showcases. The joint research project and share facility could also be enabled through this network. Next, please. Now there are two types of membership: country representative members who will be nominated by the ASEAN COSTI members, and institutional member who will be from the organization in ASEAN who are interested in BCG and also SDG. Next, please. Currently, countries that has already joined are Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore. We of course welcome all institutes in ASEAN who have the interest in sustainable development to join our network. Next, please. So lastly, if you're interested, please feel free to scan this QR code for more details and membership application. Thank you very much for your attention. Now, please allow me to come back to the session and introduce you to the first speaker of the session, Dr. Iman Hidayat, Chairman of Research Organization for Life Science Indonesia. And Dr. Iman is already here with us. I just do a quick introduction for you. So Dr. Iman is an Indonesian scientist and public official specializing in mycology, microbiology, and plant pathology. He had been a researcher at Research Center for Biomaterials, Indonesian Institute of Science since 2002. And currently, he has been appointed as a chairman of Research Organization for Life Science Indonesia. So may I now invite Dr. Iman Hidayat to deliver his presentation. Dr. Iman, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lily.
Thank you.
The presentation should be by me directly or by the committee. Okay, I will share the presentation directly.
So you would, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished moderator, speakers, and all participants. It is my pleasure to represent BRIN, National Research and Innovation Agency of Indonesia, to present our progress and strategy in empower circular bioeconomy growth in Indonesia in ASEAN Innovation Roadmap Forum 2022. We have known already that in 2015, most of countries in the world committed to conducted SDGs to achieve and to end poverty to protect our Earth, our planet. In 2020, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. But in Indonesian status, at now we have actually facing a serious problem in our resources. Actually, in the last 20 years, we lost almost 10 million hectares of forests. And
There seems to be technical problem, and we don't see Dr. Iman here.
now,
Okay,
yes,
he's
yes,
back. Dr. Iman, we
yes.
lose you for a minute, so maybe
Oh,
you could repeat what you're saying, and we don't have your slide anymore. Could you have your slide back on, please?
can you see my slide now?
No. Oh, would you like us to share your slide?
I have said to the so the connection is not good, right?
Yeah, we seem to
Sorry.
lose you a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. How about now?
We don't see your slide
Can
yet.
you see my slide?
Not yet. Oh,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
Yes, we have it back on.
Okay. So in the global context, then we also face a similar problem, actually, deforestation, and also increasing the temperature of global. It threats particular population, actually. For example, the people that rely on forest product, agriculture, as well
Um,
as
Dr. Iman, sorry to
yes.
uh, could you have your slide on the full screen mode, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
I worry actually the side will have the problem.
Yes.
Okay. Now it is the Indonesian commitment to conduct the National Biodiversity Management Strategy mandate. Actually, we in 1994 we legalized the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, and we committed to conduct the Section G 2030 Action Target of SDG Target 14 that to fully integrate biodiversity values into policy, regulation, planning, development, and so on, ensuring that all activities and financial flows are aligned with biodiversity values. So it is our government commitment to conduct a sustainable development goal. However, even though Indonesia is number second or third in terms of biodiversity, but we are facing serious problem actually, and we are now still trying how to solve this. Our archipelagic geographical situation actually provide us with specific disadvantages arising from many remote area, island transportation, and so on. So the difficult will be connectivity among the island and also equity and inclusiveness of economic development. For Indonesia to gain equal quality education, for example, it is still difficult. Good education still center in Java Island. In Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Papua, other island is the equity still not achieved. It is the our Indonesian Global Competitiveness Index that decreasing until now, and the main point that our country innovation index also decreasing until 2020. It is the serious problem. Therefore, in 2021, in September, our government conducted restructuring our research institute. So all non-governmental research institute, including research institute from various ministry, have been integrated into one National Research and Innovation Agency. We call it BRIN. We uh, we take the decision to integrate all research center because uh, there is many, how can I say, we have difficulty in terms of developing the capacity building to gain the critical mass in a good quality human resources and as well as infrastructure. Therefore, because research and innovation are the key for bioeconomy, circular economy, and green economy, we have to reshape our research and innovation strategy because this is the foundation to conduct by circular green economy and sustainable economy. So the first strategy in Indonesia, BRIN now create innovation ecosystem as a basis of biocircular green economy development in Indonesia. The innovation ecosystem consists of four factors. The first one, of course, the man itself, the innovator itself. We, BRIN, try to educate and facilitate massively in national scale uh, to increase the quality and quantity uh, all the people in Indonesia. So we open the same opportunity to all human resources to gain equity in education. We provide the funding and the programs for this. The second one, we also offer, develop and open research and innovation infrastructure in all area in Indonesia to all stakeholders to have the same opportunity to access the infrastructure. The third one, in the financial and policy, we also provide seed capital for innovators or stakeholders to transform their idea into commercialized byproduct, something like that. And the last one, of course, we have to connect all innovators, stakeholders with the industry because the industry or the market itself that will deliver the product. So in terms of research and innovation management and related to ASEAN BCG, BRIN open all the infrastructure in Indonesia and accommodate the, for example, capacity building. So not only researcher or innovator from Indonesia, but also researcher from other country as well as from ASEAN, for example, can conduct together with us and use our infrastructure or our platform in capacity building, for example, visiting researcher, visiting professor, and so on. So the researcher or postgraduate from other country can carry out conducted with Indonesian researcher to do activities in Indonesia. This scheme, BRIN will provide all the facility, including monthly allowance for visiting researcher. So I hope this scheme will also fully integrate with BCG network. So we hope that with this platform, open infrastructure, also to facilitate collaboration among researchers in Indonesia and other countries, it will create a good ecosystem for our country innovation. So we hope that maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, our national innovation will be increased and will be directly of course, affected to our bioeconomy and circular and sustainable growth. Because without suitable ecosystem to support innovation and collaboration among stakeholders in Indonesia and other countries, it will be difficult for us. As I mentioned before, we have difficulty to uh, how can I say, for all people in Indonesia to gain equal education, equal opportunity to have to access a good infrastructure for research and innovation and so on. The second strategy, we try to reshape our management of biodiversity because this is also this is a basis for national green and sustainable development. So our strategy now is the first one, of course, to develop the capacity building in all area in Indonesia. We try to develop around now 25 research center or research station across the island in Indonesia, and in each research center or research station, we develop the technology that meet the need of local resources. We develop the local communities through education, through training, as well as we diffuse the technology we develop in the research center in that area to how can I to increase the economical development of local area. So in the second strategy, we collaborate with Ministry of Village and Development, Transmigration and so on, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, regional government, local community, and of course local university, because local university is a critical stakeholder in capacity building in the local area. So this is our plan to develop a research center or research station in Indonesia to give the opportunity to all people in Indonesia to have the same good quality education, to have the same opportunity to access the good infrastructure of research and innovation, and to have how can I say, the same opportunity to make a collaboration even in Indonesia and other countries. I think this is the strategy that we try to launch in 2021 with the integration of all research center in Indonesia through BRIN. And we hope that in the next 2 or 3 years, we can increase our capacity and innovation so that we can utilize our bonus of demography and our high biodiversity for our economic development through sustainable ways. I think that one that my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your informative presentation, Dr. Iman. And I think we really agree with you on your plan of BRIN, that you actually have the plan to support the ecosystem for STI, as well as focusing on the capacity building and the bioresource management. I think we could discuss more on that. And for the participants, if you have questions, please don't forget to leave your Q&A, our suggestion in the Q&A box. So thank you very much again, Dr. Iman. And let's move to the next topic. It will be the topics on the Philippines STI intervention and initiative for a digitalized SDGs, and this will be presented by Dr. Enrico Paringit. And may I give the short bio for him first? Dr. Enrico Paringit has been the current Executive Director of the Philippines Council for Industry Energy and Emerging Technology Research and Development of the Philippines, Department of Science and Technology. His specializations are in the field of remote sensing and modeling of hydrological and coastal environments and in disaster risk reduction. At PCIEERD, he pursued innovations in the R&D grant program management, capacity building, and partnerships to accelerate the pace of S&T development and innovation in the Philippines. Dr. Enrico, very good to see you again. How are you?
Yes, Dr. Lily, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. Good to see everyone. Although, of course, I could see you in a limited way because of your mask. I
Oh,
understand you with
yeah.
somebody else there. Yes.
Yeah, we are in the meeting room. So, well, now I think the screen will be yours for now. Thank you and talk soon.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Lily. May I request the organizers to please flash the
Sure.
presentation? Yeah, thank
Yes.
you. So, as introduced by Dr. Lily, it's nice to see everyone here, although, of course, in a very limited way. I hope you're all doing very well despite the limitations, the challenges that we're facing in the face of this pandemic. But I'm hopeful that everyone is also spreading that spirit of hope and anticipation for everyone, for us to be able to recover and thrive despite all of the limitations. Of course, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of my co-speakers in this session, Dr. Iman Hidayat, who spoke earlier, Dean Setapon, and from Might Malaysia, the Senior Vice President, Dr. Raslan Ahmad. I'm sure we'll be getting a little bit more of what they have in store. I'd like to, of course, also acknowledge the presence of officials and representatives from the different government agencies in ASEAN, heads and the representatives of academic institutions, the private sector. A pleasant good morning to everyone. On behalf, of course, of the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Industry, Energy and Emerging Technology Research and Development, we'd like to thank Thailand's Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation and its National Science and Technology Development Agency for making us part of this Innovation Roadmap Forum, which focuses on BCG, on a digital world towards inclusive and sustainable growth. We are also grateful to all the attendees today because, of course, this signifies our oneness with our goal of leveraging science, technology, and innovation towards this progress. So my objective in attending this session is to share with you some of the STI initiatives in the Philippines that support sustainable development goals in the region. And of course, it is in this slide that we also connect or touch through the BCG thrust being espoused in the region, of course, with the very able coordinatorship of Thailand. We hope that these initiatives will be contributory towards our continued recovery towards a new normal. I think I did not belabor the point about the importance of SDGs as it of course seeks to strengthen our collective aspirations for to eradicate poverty in all forms and dimensions. We believe that science, technology, and innovations this can be achieved through rapid technological developments, which catalyzes the changes that are needed. Here in DOST PCIEERD, that's how we pronounce the acronym of our agency. We crafted actually about 70 roadmaps, no, that cater to each one of these SDGs. Some are actually overlapping with others in the 21 sectors that we support. The challenge that we face now is make, of course, all of this connected by a term which we called, of course, globalization, making our local efforts attuned, of course, to the global arena. We wanted to pursue this light because we believe that the solutions to the current challenges and problems that we have are often times already solved somewhere else, perhaps in a different context or in a different scale. Of course, the massive wave of globalization started last century, if I may. But our current experiences in COVID-19 pandemic shows that our systems are not resilient enough to withstand these disruptions. And that's where globalization can fill in that gap by integrating some of the local elements, which provide the nuance to some of the current challenges that we have to achieve a global good. And it is through this sustainable development or climate change action and roping in local actors in the discussion on sustainability, uh, we can become more inclusive and let our stakeholders set the pathway towards achieving the SDG. One of the SDGs where our efforts are focused on is on SDG 9. Let me start with the resilient infrastructure to promote sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Actually, it has 8 target progress, which is measured by 12 indicators. The first 5 targets are outcomes, which outlines the way our countries industrialize to become sustainable through research and development. So the remaining 3 targets are actually focusing on the means of achieving these targets to get their outcome targets. So it's in this light that we're taking this cue to ensure that we are achieving this global goal at a local scale. The Philippines is currently experiencing a sort of a revitalized interest in the infrastructure sector through our Build program, and one of the yardsticks of our
Dr.
development.
Paringit,
Yes.
sorry, maybe we don't catch up with the slide.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
not
now
sure
in.
which
Yeah.
slide are you talking now.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm now in slide 7. I'm sorry about.
7.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry
Okay.
about that. So could you
Yes.
maybe give us the cue to change
All
this?
right. All right.
Thank
Yes.
you. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So one of the yardsticks of development is the improvement, of course, in the construction sector. So we run R&D programs with a vision of providing advanced and reliable construction materials and innovative services to ensure a safer and sustainable infrastructure. So these programs serve as our guide for our researchers on how and where to align their research interests, as well as for finding ideas that we can support. Next slide, please. For sustainable construction materials, this involves, of course, the use of renewable and recyclable materials. We're building new structures as well as reducing energy consumption and waste are of primary focus. It doesn't end when the building is complete. The building itself should have a reduced impact on the environment over its lifespan. This is what we call as footprint or carbon footprint. This means that the building design should incorporate elements that have ongoing positive influence on the building's environment through its useful life. And next slide, please. As building and construction comprise 39% of all carbon emissions in the world, we supported this initiative to address issues of challenges in the construction materials, such as optimization and valorization of indigenous recycled and industrial waste materials into different construction products or applications. And second, exploration and development of new materials as cost-effective alternatives to conventional construction materials. We have likewise endeavored to promote innovative construction services to make the construction process greener. So this enables us to veer away from traditional means of building, which are oftentimes environment resistant and damaging. The innovative methodologies advance the sustainability, productivity, and efficiency of a firm's construction process. Slide 11, please. So DOST should aim to establish testing laboratories to try and come up with the appropriate materials, workmanship, design, guidelines, and interventions. So one of the primary examples of this is to establish a concrete petrography lab, which will help companies and even government agencies determine the quality, performance, and durability of concrete as well as the raw materials used. We have also endeavored to put up testing laboratories for looking at the conditions related to the infrastructure of on coastal areas such as ports, harbors, and and embayment areas, because the lack of construction standard for coastal engineering infrastructure is not quite a sustainable way to go. Our researchers are also developing cost-effective construction equipment and tools to help construction industries in planning and decision making. Slide 13, please. We also supported programs that can be used by the industry before, during, and even post construction. This includes services that generate surface and subsurface data and archive construction data, which can be analyzed and utilized by architects, engineers, and planners. Off to another sector, slide 14, please. We also supported projects for sustainable energy. We have endeavored to support medium and small scale enterprises through low carbon and efficient technologies to help entrepreneurs avail of environment friendly electricity solutions. Because we are an archipelagic country, we are also endeavored to support microgrid renewable energy systems for cost competitive, innovative systems applications. The aim of this is to develop solutions that are not only being used for existing electric generation facilities, but also to provide local technology development. Our goal here is to assess and develop technology on the use of alternative materials for renewable energy, as well as tapping onto technologies that are already supporting us insofar as renewable energy sources are concerned. For the productive environment or the extractive industry in particular, we also endeavor to provide support for sustainable extraction and adaptive metallurgy for metallic minerals to produce competitive intermediate products for emerging technology applications, specifically for nickel, iron, and copper. We want to focus on quality assessment of selected materials such as limestone for industry application. Um, and we are supporting more technologies that will support environmental protection, conservation, and rehabilitation of mined out areas. Uh, Slide 16, please. For the manufacturing sector, we supported the non-intrusive sensor-based prescriptive maintenance platform for wire manufacturing under our integrated intelligent and integrated sensors and actuators program. So this project, which is a has semblance to Industry 4.0 concept, is a network system for implementing processing, sensors, and machine learning uh, as applied to a wiring manufacturing factory. Our overall goal here is to design, develop, and implement and deploy artificial intelligence tools that will perform prescriptive maintenance in order for us to not only gauge the reliability of systems, but also to ensure that proper prescriptive approaches are applied. Um, we also have programs for smart food value chain. Next slide, please, to ensure sustainability of local food sufficiency as we drive to a new normal. One of the projects or approaches here is to set up smart modular mobile food processing facility to ensure the deployment as well as the distribution of food and food products all throughout the supply chain, because we recognize that this can be a limitation when you have limited logistic support in time of pandemic. Lastly, we also supported programs and projects that will, of course, support or address our environmental challenges. This year, in fact, we are in search of research programs and projects to adhere our theme on innovative, affordable, and compact technologies for the environment, or the IAC program. And of course, it focuses on three subsectors: the wastewater, air quality, and solid waste management. We are, of course, on the lookout for projects that are geared towards also improving the quality of our environment, particularly air, and the use of novel materials for that will be able to reduce the emissions coming from industries as well as uh, from vehicles. Our call here is actually aligned, of course, with the very concept and objectives of the BCG, and that is to go for a greener economy. In order to achieve sustainability in our environment, we need to first think green, which will empower, of course, our policymakers on understanding and planning for a circular economy. The second is to make green, where we allow our researchers to develop and eventually deploy to the industries clean processes and technologies from the onset or from the beginning. And for those materials that are extracted or that are derivatives out of our production, we have to turn them green. We have to make a certain purpose for them. And lastly, when the waste had already reached their eventual destination, our initiative here is to come up with technology solutions and systems that will enable us to treat them properly. So it is what we say: we have to keep them green. In order to for us to embed sustainable development goals, we recognize that our key strategies for making this happen. The first, we have to plan this carefully through a system of science and technology roadmaps and specific calls for certain projects that will enable our researchers to actually connect with their stakeholders, primarily the industry, with the government agencies, and interest groups that are protective of the environment. The second is that we have to implement these projects in a way that they will be able to deliver what their commitments specific to the SDGs. So, and towards the end of the implementation of these projects that will create technologies, we must be able to pinpoint what the economic, social, and environmental impacts are of these projects. And also, we need to understand or to cater to the needs of the public and the general population at large on what we are doing insofar as science, technology, and innovation is concerned. So we have to put out information and dissemination campaigns for our citizens to appreciate what our scientists, researchers, and innovators are doing. Lastly, it's a big hurdle for us to also connect with our legislators, our policymakers, and executives to adopt policies that are not only conducive to technologies that are protective of our environment, but also to make sure that this can be sustained economically, socially, uh, and most of all, environmentally. So we call on, of course, our partners from the ASEAN region through the BCG network for partnership, for collaboration, and for joint activities that will allow us to innovate with each other to address our pressing environmental challenges. Again, I'd like to thank the organizers of this forum for setting the stage for all of us to speak, and I do hope that to connect with everyone as we continue our activities moving forward as we adapt this bio-based, green, and circular economy. Thank you very much, and
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Enrico. Of the BCG and SDG and using STI to help improving many areas like construction, food, and environment. So thank you very much and look forward to the discussion later. Now, our next topic, SDG through partnership, Malaysia Good Practices, will be presented by Dr. Raslan Ahmed. Dr. Raslan has held a number of high senior management positions in key government agencies over the past 30 years, He is currently a senior vice president of Malaysian Industry Government Group for High Technology, or MITE, an agency under Prime Minister Department. Dr. Raslan led MITE international team to provide secretariatship for numerous international projects and initiatives in the area of clean, green, and renewable energy, sustainable cities and communities, and also Industry 4.0. Dr. Raslan has also been awarded the Fellow of Academy of Science for year 2018 by Academy of Science Malaysia. So, Dr. Raslan, very good to see you again. Yeah, we are looking forward to your presentation. Can you, yeah, you can hear me, right? Okay, good. So please, Dr. Raslan, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Lily, Dr. Iman, Dr. Enrico, Dr. Warajit, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to deliver a talk on how science, technology, innovation supporting SDG. First and foremost, thank you for inviting us for this important event. Next slide, please. Let me begin with a short introduction about my organization called Malaysian Industry Government Group for High Technology, or we call MITE. MITE was established in 1993 as a partnership technology think tank. Our mission is to serve the nation in advancing competency in high technology through partnership towards sustainable development. Among our goal include setting common direction for high-tech industry development, as a referral center for high technology, partnering for delivering impact in project and program. We also nurture techno-business innovation. Last or not least, developing capability and competency for high-tech industry. Next. My role is to provide strategic advisory to the government and industry through roadmaps, master plan, and blueprint. We also nurture and invest into technology companies. We are together with key partner works in developing the technology and innovation based on industry cluster. We have 4 focus areas such as mobility, 4IR, sustainable development technology, and foresight studies. We are happy to be part of ASEAN BCG networks. We believe this provides opportunity for us to contribute and complement other friends in terms of supporting SDG through science, technology, and innovation. Next slide, please. As everybody aware, Malaysia is facing not just sustainable development goal challenge, but is currently in the midst of major crises such as COVID-19, political uncertainty, economic pressures, and societal changes. If wrongly managed, it might trigger a negative impact to our current and future development. This will definitely impact our current and future generation. Next, please. We really need to firstly anticipate changes and disruption, understand current and future needs, manage uncertainty in economic, social, and political, identify drivers of change and champions, and lastly, adopting and deploying various methodologies in order to mobilize our action. To achieve SDG or BCG, we need partnership and collaboration at all levels. The science, technology, innovation can act as an enabler and transformational force to change existing clearly unsustainable. Next slide, please. We need to be united at global, regional, and national level. We believe we need to create a common platform to deliberate, share, and provide the comprehensive solution toward SDG. So today event is one example where we can together addressing global regional and national common issue and challenges. So we happy to be part of ASEAN BCG networks. Definitely, Malaysia want to play active role. Mine as organization definitely want to bring the government and industry together, meeting and addressing SDG and also the BCG. Next, please. Our motivation and approach is to take our not just our country but also our region to the next level and achieving SDG based on the three pillars. First is economy, which focusing on competitive nation aimed at fostering economic growth. Second is environment toward green and resilient society. And third is social with the objective ensuring access to affordable services and living for citizens. These three elements also called ESG at the business level, where we need to have integrated approach and a balanced element incorporating all economic, environmental, and social perspective. Next slide, please. Let me share a few good practices where science, technology, innovation support SDG through partnership. First, from international perspective, involve multilateral agencies. A good example is where UNIDO currently implementing Sustainable City in Malaysia project under Sustainable City Integrated Approach Pilot Program, participated by 28 cities in 11 countries around the world. UNIDO, with the support of World Bank, with the cooperation of Ministry of Housing and Local Government and Malacca State, has engaged mine as the executive partner to undertake this project in Malaysia. This project address SDG 11, Sustainable City and Community, with strategic objective to provide integrated urban solution and cutting-edge support for cities seeking to improve their urban sustainability. Next slide, please. Currently, we together with NIDO implementing a project in one of the state, which is Malacca State, called Smart Grid Project. Consists of policy framework, awareness raising, capacity building, and demonstration project. This project try to integrate all the sustainable energy application such as solar PV, solar thermal system, electric vehicle and charging system, and so on, aiming towards reducing the GHG emission for sustainable city in Malacca. Next slide, please. Another good practices under international cooperation and involve government-to-government cooperation is the Newton Unku Omar Fund project. This is a science and innovation partnership between UK and Malaysia. As many aware, the Newton Fund has 17 partner countries worldwide, 5 of which are in Southeast Asia. The Newton Funds focus on 5 areas: health and life sciences, future cities, environmental resilience and energy security, agriculture and digital innovation, and creativity. In general, the program address SDG 13 on climate action. Next. Next is example of good practices STI in action supporting SDG involve cooperation between federal and state. In Malaysia, we have federal and state government. We currently facilitating 2 states, which is Perak and Malacca State, to transform the state into green and smart state by 2030 and 2035. So the Perak Sustainable Green Print 2030 strategy is to focus on a very important priority area for state to be transformed, become a green state. Meanwhile, for Smart Malacca, which is a focus project for Malacca State, to adopt digital technology to turn the state become the smart state or smart, city and so on. Next slide, please. Another example, at business level, at organizational level, we have one good example, which is Aerospace Malaysia Innovation Center, or AMI. which involve the cooperation between industry, government, and academia in the area of aerospace industry. A triple helix approach has been adopted to ensure the local aerospace industry remain competitive. Next slide, please. As a way forward, through ASEAN network, we believe we can adopt a few methodology for us to realize our aspiration towards SDG. We might introduce what we believe we need to ready. Ready mean ready from resources, economic, accessibility, digital, and institutional aspect. So ready for all at national level, regional, and global level. One more methodology. Next slide, please. We call first. First, which is in order to implement, to ensure the networks is effective, we need to address at least 5 components. The funding, the infrastructure, the regulation, skill and talent, and technology. These are what we call first. I think ready and first is 2 major aspects we need to put focus on in realize our SDG or ASEAN network, what we talking about. Next slide. Okay, that's last slide of mine. Let's us work together for the five P's, which is planet, people, prosperity, partnership, and peace. Once again, thank you for this opportunity. I look forward for our discussion and deliberation. Over to you, Dr. Lily. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Raslan, for your informative presentation. So we have learned through your talk that SDG and BCG are something that should be collaborative, and you have shown successful example of several achievements through international collaboration, and we could learn more from you definitely. So thank you again. Our next topic, which will be the last one for this session, and we are very proud to have lady speakers finally. Yeah, so the topic would be community development through BCG model for sustainable development goals, and the presenter will be Dr. Warajit Setapan. She is now the Dean of Architect, Chiang Mai Ratchapat University, Thailand, and she was a recipient of the Fulbright Scholarship and received her master's degree and PhD in chemical engineering from the University of Michigan with a doctoral appointment at Argonne National Laboratory. She managed the graduate programs in community energy and environment. She established the Chiang Mai World Green City with 100% renewable energy-based smart community. She was the ASEAN US Science and Technology Fellow and worked at the Ministry of Energy, Thailand, on decentralized community power. She was the 2016 ASEAN US Women in Science for Sustainable Energy. So Dr. Warajit, สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ and
so now are you ready to present?
yes, I am.
Great.
Can you hear
So
me
now
okay?
the screen is yours, Ka. Please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lily, for your kind introduction. And I would like to say good morning, good afternoon to all my speakers as well, Dr. Raslan, Dr. Enrico, and Dr. Iman. I learned a lot from your presentation, and I hope for this presentation, it would be more of a ground approach because I'm from a university. Okay, so I am from Chiang Mai Ratchapat University, and I'm so honored to have a chance to present because we just applied for the ASEAN BCG network. Okay, so I hope that we have the opportunity to work together in the future. So I want to tell you a little bit about my university, Chiang Mai Ratchapat University. We're in Chiang Mai in the northern part of Thailand. And if you heard of Ratchapat University, we're an academic institution for the community development. So that's why I want to focus on this talk on SCG and BCG toward community development. So for my university, we have our campus in the Merim district, and we want to create it as a green campus. So one of my big project is we want to develop the sustainable, green, and smart community with the integration of renewable energy and green technology. And that is one of the project when we submit for the ASEAN Women in Science Award. And so we believe that the community development can be through like R&D, academic services, and that would help enhance the local economy and also increase the quality of life in the local area. So the linkage between SDG and BCG, you probably heard a little bit about it. When we look at it, the BCG would be conformed to the UN SDG, and that would focus on the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity and the protection of natural resource in the ecosystem. So for Thailand, we aim to use the BCG model to develop the country and to use innovation-driven economy to increase the economy in Thailand. So that's the relations between SDG and also BCG. And the sixth model dimension under BCG is that, as I said, we want to enhance the competitiveness advantage using the biodiversity and cultural diversity that Thailand have a lot of. And Professor Yongyut already gave his keynote speech in that BCG does connect to sufficiency economy philosophy together in order to develop the nation's sustainability. Then this will also fulfill 10 out of 17 SDGs, and the BCG will also cover 5 out of 10 target for the S-curve industry in Thailand. And the overall goal is to distribute the opportunity, wealth to the region and also to the local community as well. In order to do that, for the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research, and Innovation, we want to see the BCG work with the collaboration for university, research institution, work with local community, private company, public entity, and global network. So that's how the collaboration will happen and the BCG economy. So I'll be explaining a few of the work that I've also been doing and the way how the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research, and Innovation, it's a very long name, and how they will push using the BCG in order to develop the local economy. So one of the key strategic platform for the higher education, science, technology, and innovation is that this is to the year 2070. And then the platform focusing on the higher education, science, research, and innovation, we focus on 4 platforms. The first one is to develop the manpower and institution, and then increase the capacity of also the researcher and the public and the businesses, and also using research and innovation for social challenges. The third is research innovation to enhance competitiveness, research and innovation for area based on development and research inequality. So these are the 4 platforms. So it's the main platform that the ministry under the STI fund, they would fund all the researchers in the university. Has to be under these 4 platforms. So the platform number 4 that I'm pretty much interested in, and we can use the BCG to help develop the local economy, is platform number 4 is innovation for area-based development and reduce inequality. And the objective and key result, the OKR, they would focus on increasing and developing smart community, and also driven through innovations in the local innovations. With this, it will increase and the distributed income, increase the income to the general public and also distribute the income, and want to distribute the knowledge. In order to do this, it would distribute knowledge and also development, the area base through the economic corridors. So overall, we want to have an increase in inclusive development index. So basically, we don't want the research and development to stay in the university or the research institution. We want it to go to the general public or to the area base. So this is just a picture of different technologies that is in my campus, and how are we going to move from the research and research institution for the innovation and go to the area base to develop the real local community. Okay. So another project that I want, it's a kind of a mega project that has been going on for a few years now. We call it U2T, which is University to Tambon. Tambon is like sub-district. Okay, there are over 7,000 sub-district or tambon in Thailand. So how do we use this big project to use university knowledge and area base to drive the economy in the tambon and drive in the sense of BCG for the regional development? So this is why Thailand. So under the biocircular green economy, and then we focus on the value creation for four sectors: agriculture, food, health and medical, energy, chemical and material, and tourism. And how do we distinguish and which area should be developed, which sector should be developed in what area in Thailand? So for the economic corridor in Thailand, which we separate into four part, and the University to Tambon project will focus on four, which is the northeastern corridor, which is where I am right here in Chiang Mai, and we focus on Creative Lana. So the goal for the U2T is to focus on the creative economy, starting creative system, using creative tourism, and focus on also creativity in people as well. And then for the next one would be the Northeastern, would focus on the bioeconomy, bio-based product, manufacturing, agriculture, SME, corporations, like that. And for Central and Western, which is close to Bangkok, over here would focus on the high-tech industry, agriculture industry, tourism, and then this would be linking to Bangkok. For the Southern, which is great for logistics and linkage to many of our neighbor. So it'd be high value agriculture and international based tourism is high standard tourism. And so for the U2T, in order to develop the area, so the goal for University Tambon is have a university driven to increase the potential and competitiveness in production and service sectors with BCG knowledge, technology, and innovation, and also to drive the four economic corridor that I already explained, and enhance employment, which means this project will hire the people in the local area, and to build the capacity to upskill, reskill the people to work the BCG economy. So for that, so this would be the second phase of the BCG. I was part of the first phase and also the second phase as well. So in the first phase, the U2T project go into 3,000 Tambon sub-district and hire 60,000 people, mainly the local people who have the home base in that sub-district. So, and then with that, they do capacity building and activity and community business and enhance the quality of life in the sub-district with that. So if you go to the website, you will see the product or the jobs that has been created through the U2T using the BCG model. For phase two, they focus more on the BCG, more focus group using each tambon. They have to develop the BCG supply chain, upstream, meaning like the production, midstream, like standardized in the sense of the standardized production, and the midstream, and downstream, focusing on the market. So whatever it's from the first phase, it would be developed further to complete the value chain. So, and then the focusing would be on high value agriculture, wellness, health, food, herbs, creative economy, tourism, cultural health heritage, and also circular economy. Hopefully within this year, and then the project deliverables would be to enhance the local economy with at 7,435 tambon or sub-district in 77 provinces and would employ 140,000 people. And this would also build the Thailand Community Big Data Platform. If we understand the information and the data in the local sector, we would be help to develop targeted development. So at the end, after the first phase of the project, the tambon that I was a part of, that I mentored, it's Medha in Chiang Mai. And we had employer of the U2T project come in and thank me and also thank the ministry for giving them the opportunity. And we do sharing and we do some small exhibition sharing what they have accomplished. So it's kind of nice to see the younger generation, if they have the opportunity and how they can improve the local economy in their hometown. Okay, so thank you very much. And I believe BCG and also would help Thailand and also ASEAN for our ASEAN BCG network to develop our nation sustainably. So thank you again. And if you have any questions, you can also contact us through the information here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Varachitka, for sharing your knowledge with us. And you have shown us interesting aspects of integration of academic, government, and community into the development of a local economy with local context as well, which will be highly applicable and I think sustainable. So thank you again for your impressive story. Now we don't have much time left, but I still would like to proceed to the Q&A session, and we have few questions in the chat box and Q&A box. So I think it would be fair to kind of divide the questions to maybe like few of the speakers. So maybe I start with the question number one. Maybe I'll go to Dr. Iman and Dr. Enrico. So the first question would be, what is the most pressing challenge to make technology more sustainable? So maybe start with Dr. Iman first. Do you hear my questions clearly? What is the most pressing challenge to make technology more sustainable? This is a question from Serena from ASEAN Sec. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Lily. Very good question. Yeah, the basic problem in Indonesia, like I mentioned, the first one is, of course, our geographical. The Indonesian archipelago contribute the second problem, equity in quality education. So high quality education currently is centered in Java Island. Therefore, how can I say, there are very big gaps in terms of capacity of people in Indonesia among island. That's the second problem. The third problem is it is very difficult in the previous period to diffuse the innovation or technology that we create in at that time in Java Island University and Technology Research Center, something like this. So to overcome this problem, we try to create another strategy that we develop many research center or session in all islands, collaborate with local university to make sure that the capacity building and all the island, all the people, community have the same or equal opportunity to get the equal good education, high quality education. So it will be the basis to increase our capability in research and innovation, that we believe that if we increase the capacity building of our people that distribute in many islands, including big and small islands, that we will harvest the result within 3 years. So that's actually the basic problem, and we try to change the strategy, to shifting the strategy. We collaborate with local university, and yeah, we start from the capacity building. And also we provide the funding and open up all our infrastructure to all stakeholders to use, not only for researcher, but also for common people, university, and industry, to have the same access to our infrastructure for free. I think that's the answer from me, Dr. Lily.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Dr. Iman, for touching upon the very crucial factors and challenging for the technology distribution, which is education. Okay, so maybe move to Dr. Enrico. Could you share your thought for us, please?
Yes, Dr. Lily. Dr. Iman actually already presented some of the key issues that may hamper us from adopting some of the STI initiatives to support our sustainability goals. But apart from that, the underlying question sometimes, often that's presented in a public forum or in the discussions related to sustainability issues is the economic and financial viability of certain technologies that are being introduced to support our sustainability goals. I'm talking here specifically about key environmental technologies that will help us manage our environment better. For example, we can talk about single-use plastics and its plan for eradication. But every time we have this kind of discussions about adapting sustainable materials for packaging, for containing our products and solutions to our production, we come to a discussion about its economic viability in terms of earning income for our people, as well as financial viability for businesses and industries wishing to adopt some of these key technologies. And I think if we are to move forward, we have to also explain properly and adequately the potentials as well as the opportunities afforded by adopting these environmental technologies that we have so far fostered and supported. I think we need to include that always in the discussion whenever we have these kinds of forum. Thank you.
Of course, I think that is a very important issue for technology development, that we cannot make it go through the consumers because of the, you know, economic scale, that we cannot make it a very widely available. Thank you very much for the very excellent questions, both of you. And I think I have questions for both of you, Dr. Waratit and Dr. Raslan. Don't worry. We have one more question from, again, Serena. The question is, on equitable access to technology, to what extent will BCG address technology divide? I think it's kind of do you understand the questions? On equitable access to technology, to what extent will BCG address technology divide? So maybe it's kind of like maybe continuous from the first question. So maybe can we go to Dr. Rohit first, lady first?
Okay, so thank you very much. I really feel, can I answer the first question toward the second questions
Sure,
as
sure. I
well?
think that would
So
be great.
yeah, so I think the most pressing challenge in making the technology more sustainable is regarding to the value chain in the technology. So the technology we'll use in like upstream, midstream, or downstream, in the sense of it has to be interconnected to create more of like a business. So it need to generate income without the using technology to make a business or generating the economy, income in the economy, it's hard to make it more sustainable. So what BCG is, I think it's good that in the sense that it gives us some scope on how to develop this technology more sustainably, more in the sense of using the bio-base, reusing or circular economy, or using waste or whatever we have, and also focusing on the green economy as well. So it's more of development in the sustainable way in that technology. So I think if with that kind of scope of the BCG, and then the value chain and the economy, that BCG economy that it would generate, would be more sustainable, and it should address the technology, the sustainability of technology. Okay,
Thank you
thank you.
very much. That's a very good answer, and I think it ties up very well with the BCG concept. Thank you. So, and how about you, Dr. Raslan?
Thank you, Dr. Lily. I want to go back to first question, and I will also respond to the second question. The first
That's
question
great.
about I echo to Dr. Enrico about the economic aspect, because back to when we talk about BCG, definitely we need right business and financing model. These are very challenging because why? In the past, we rely on conventional or traditional, financing or business model. But under BCG, we need to also look for what are the alternative financing model we can deploy. For example, in the context of Malaysia, we look for other possible, alternative financing model from private financing initiative or PFI, because the government not able to sustain or accommodate all the requirements. So they require the private sector to also on board and also committed to BCG. So that's where the role of financial institution from private also equally important. That's one. So the second question, back to equitable access to that technology, or in the past we talking about have and have not, how to ensure finally the masses can gain or leverage on whatever technology solution we had. But again, depend on the readiness and adoption, because we need to ensure all the citizen ready to adopt and deploy technology for BCG. This require awareness. This require capability and capacity, knowledge and skill. So that's where we need to prepare our citizen, our community, from not just from technology solution perspective, but more on the from the education, awareness and capacity point of view. So training, education is a must. Is required at all level. Leadership, commitment, and governance also equally important. So I think back to our platform, I believe ASEAN BCG is the right platform to ensure we can nurture, we can build the capability to adopt, and also ensure the readiness and also accessibility equally for all. Thank you, Dr. Lily.
Thank you very much. I think that summarized very well with the BCG concept and ASEAN BCG direction that we would like to go forward. And I think what actually make it very important to answer those questions would be that the fact that BCG could be the way forward for sustainable approaches to build us back better, as well as integrate the science, technology, and innovation. We still need the participation of all sectors, either academic, government, business, and also local community to do it together, and we could build the future development for ASEAN as well as each country of the AMS as well. So thank you very much once again for all the speakers of the session. And I'm afraid that this is what all we have time for. And I think we all enjoy the contribution of the speakers. So I would like to ask everyone to maybe in this room to give a big round of applause to all the speakers in this session. Thank you. And once again, thank you very much for the, you know, the all the participants to spend time with us today. And I hope that you have actually enjoyed this session and got the inspired by the BCG concept. And once again, if you would like to join us, please, go feel free to follow up the nasta.or.th website, and we could have the detail of the um, registration of the network in this website. So thank you very much for today, and thank you once again for all the speakers for your inspiring presentation and for sharing your knowledge with us today. Thank you and goodbye. So thank you.
Thank
Well,
you very
thank you
much.
very much indeed. And
Same.
I would ask you to
Thank you so
kindly
much.
give a big round of applause to our moderators, for Dr. Lily Vilayjit. Well, thank you very much. Excellent job. And thank you, our distinguished guests, our guest speakers as well, for sharing this very informative, fruitful information with us. And I'm pretty sure that some of us has already got some ideas on how to utilize the model of contribute to ASEAN, especially ASEAN BCG network, to achieving the SDG goals. And this wraps up this morning's session of the ASEAN Innovation Roadmap Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, so for those who will be attending the afternoon session in another room will be resumed starting from 1:30 p.m. onwards. But for those who are here with us on site and have scheduled for the afternoon session outdoor activities, so thank you very much once again, and allow me to inform you to kindly proceed to Chatuchak Cafe at the lobby area for lunch. And that wraps up for the morning session. Thank you very much.